What's going on, guys? Beta 18 is now out for MX Bikes, and since it's been a couple weeks, I found some settings that have helped me feel comfortable in the game. So if you clicked on this because you're new to the game, check out these settings and see if it helps you out. Starting off, and one of the most important parts of the game is the tires. Now, don't really worry too much about like how much fuel you have in there, but it is really important that you try different tires in the game. I've found that the mid-soft works for most bikes, the 90 more so for the 250, and the 80 more or less for the 450. I run on 120 rear almost every single track on the 450, and it makes me feel comfortable. I haven't really gotten around to the medium tires or the sand tires yet because I've been riding a lot of Supercross, but that's something that I am going to test, and hopefully it works out. Now, as for tire pressures, you can run 13 something. You can even drop it down a little bit, but I suggest you keep it somewhere in the 13 range or even go up to 14. Now, if you navigate your way over to the first input tab, you're going to see direct lean. I have found that 56 works really good for me. For newer guys who are coming from like Xbox or something, maybe in the 40s will be a little bit better, but you should mess around with that. You can also mess around with combined brakes and change the values of that. I do that simply because of Supercross and I don't have a designated button for that. Go into the advanced portions of that, and if you're having trouble with the brakes, select smoothing and just turn that up a little bit. It keeps it from locking up. Turning the gain down does also help from locking up, and then you can test it down below where my mouse is at right now. Same thing for the rear brake. If you go on here and check smoothing, you can, after you mess with kind of like the combined brake stuff, you can go on to smoothing and turn that way up so it doesn't lock up all the way, but just keep in mind if you're trying to do brake taps, it will cause an issue with that. Moving into leaning, I would put it at 135 linearity. It just makes it more precise. Check smoothing and then throw like 30% on and turn the gain down somewhere around 90 at first. You can even go a little bit lower. Test it down below so you can see how it feels in the game, or you can just try it on the track. Either way it works, but give it a shot and let me know. As for the rest of this stuff, not really too important right away, but throttle, you can mess with it. I leave it like this, but if you're having trouble looping out or sliding out too much, just put smoothing on and just mess with smoothing. All it does is just kind of helps a little bit with throttle control if you're not too good at it yet. And as you get better at the game, you'll be able to mess with it. You can test the value down below as you see on my screen. If not, then just uncheck smoothing and just do it manually. And another thing, if you haven't figured out, over here where you're putting in your like sticks and which ones do what, make sure that they're ovals next to everything. If you put X's there, it's going to be opposite. If you're a sim guy, then maybe run it like that, but make sure they have ovals and you should be good to go on that. Moving into the camera view, I have found that just the dynamic cam on 40 distance with a 46 height or 45 height, somewhere in there, with no offset is the way to go. Offset obviously is like that weird camera that you have on the MX versus ATV games, but I would just leave it roughly where it's at right here. As for this, I had brake help on because I was running a lot of Supercross, but I took it off and I've actually been running better lap times just because I can brake harder, but it's also kind of the same thing that smoothing does. It helps with that. So that's about it for this one, guys. I know it was a short video, but I figured I would post something that would help with the initial learning curve if you're just getting into the game. If it helps you out, please consider dropping a comment down below and maybe even liking the video. And then if it really helped you out, maybe even a little subscribe so that way you guys can stay up to date and check out any other future videos if I find something that helps you guys. I know I haven't been posting a whole ton lately, but if you're new to the channel, this is what I do. I try to help you guys get a better feel for the game so that way it's more enjoyable. The more people playing it, the better. If you have any other questions and I don't see it in the comments, hit me up on Instagram at Razzles126 and enjoy Beta 18, guys. We'll see you later.